Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another video, and something a little bit different on the channel here. I'm going to be ranking my favorite Final Fantasy games on the Tier Maker website and basically let you guys know which games I have played, which games I haven't played, and as for the ones that I have played, you know, which ones are the best and which ones are the worst. Because I'm actually currently replaying through Final Fantasy X at the moment, the PS4 version, trying to get all the trophies and unlock the sphere grid and get the celestial weapons. Wish me luck on that. And I actually just found out that I've missed certain destruction spheres, so I have to go back into temples, and if I want to get anima anyway, so oh boy, that's going to be rough. And as much as I love Final Fantasy X, there are certain aspects to it that are just terrible, such as getting the celestial weapons, the chocobo racing, and those cloisters of trials and the destruction spheres. Makes me want to rage. So anyway, here we are on the Tier Maker website, which is a great site if you've ever been on here, where you can, you know, rate your favorite movies and characters and all kinds of fun stuff. So I have this one, the Final Fantasy main series tier list, and it's just the mainline series with the certain sequels that are best not to even talk about. And we're going to rank them from S to C, as well as a didn't play tier, because those certain sequels I have not played. But anyway, I'm going to start with the first Final Fantasy and work my way all the way to 15. And as I rank each one, give a little synopsis on what I liked, what I didn't like, and things of that nature. So with Final Fantasy I, we'll put that on the B tier, just because, you know, it's the first game, so there's that, but it's very primitive. I mean, as far as the story, there's really not much there. You're the 4 warriors of light going to get the crystals and go at the end going against chaos. And, you know, it's very minimal in terms of story, but, you know, the gameplay for its time was great. In the beginning, you pick your 4 characters, and there are 6 different classes to choose from. You have the warrior, the thief, the monk, the red mage, white mage, and black mage, and you can customize your party any way you like. You can have 4 warriors, you can have 4 white mages, or you can just have the, you know, standard team that I would always choose: warrior, monk, white mage, and black mage, or even switch the black mage out for a red mage, whatever you want to do. But the choice is yours, and there's a lot of great options to go from. And the fact, when did this game even come out? Like the 80s, right? It came out on the Nintendo. It was like 85 or 86, something like that. So this game's old as hell. And for it to still work pretty well, granted it's been remastered, of course, on the Game Boy Advance and the PSP. And the PSP is currently the definitive way to play it. Although I think it is on Steam, but play it on the PSP on an emulator or something. Then we have Final Fantasy II, which gets a lot of criticism. A lot of people don't really like it. However, I'm going to put it on the B tier as well. As far as the gameplay goes, and rightfully so with the criticism, the way you level up is very strange. For instance, the way you would level up your HP, your characters actually have to take damage. Same goes for, say, use magic, your magical spells. You have to cast the spell, and that would increase the spell and increase the potency. Also your MP and things of that nature. However, I do like the story a lot more. There's more of a story. You're going up against the evil empire. You know, you got Furion, Maria, and Guy, and then eventually Leon rejoins the party. And then the 4th party member is interchangeable, and there's a lot of characters that die, such as Joseph, and, you know, a lot of good stuff, a lot of great story moments. I do like the story. This game would do a great service if it was remade similar to how Final Fantasy VII was remade, with seeing the characters in 3D and having an actual story and improving upon the gameplay. But again, that's on the PSP as well as the Game Boy Advance, if you're looking to play that. Now, let's see, where's Final Fantasy 3? Final Fantasy 3, I'm going to put on C, just because I don't really care for it. It's more open-ended in terms of the story. I mean, you started the Onion Knights in the NES version anyway, and then the DS has improved story elements, but I've never played the DS version. This sort of started off with the whole class system, or the job system, where you can, you know, pick your character's class, whereas, you know, it was more open-ended. You have warriors, monks, thieves, the Onion Knights, dragoons, all sorts of character traits, summoners, just really open-ended. It really improves in Final Fantasy V, so that's why I'm ranking it so low. And the story, I don't really care much for the story in 3. I've only ever played this one once, whereas others I played multiple times, so that's why I'm going to have to rank that lower than it is. Now, as for Final Fantasy IV, that is going in S tier. This is where we got our first real great story with Cecil, the Dark Knight who became the Paladin, and his band of heroes who joined him, including his betrothed Rosa. And this is the first instance where the characters, have their set classes and you really can't change them any way you want. Like, for instance, Cecil is the knight. You have Rydia, who's the summoner. Kane, the dragoon. Rosa, the white mage. Edge, the ninja. I don't know what you'd call Sid, the mechanic, I guess. and a bunch of different characters who all have different traits and abilities. And as they level up, they learn their different spells and whatnot. Whereas in the other games, you would equip them with spells or whatever. Like, for instance, the first Final Fantasy, you go to the shop and buy the spells or whatever. So, but the storyline is great in that. And again, you saw characters who died. And terrific storyline. As for the after years, I've only played it once and don't really care for it. It takes place some years after Final Fantasy IV. And in my opinion, anytime Square seems to go back on a Final Fantasy and make sequels, it never seems to work out too well. Just see the 13 trilogy, see Advent Children with Final Fantasy VII, and Final Fantasy X too, goes on and on. So we'll rank it that pretty low. I don't really care for it much. Final Fantasy V is going to go in A tier. Again, improves on 3 in my opinion in terms of the job system, where any character can learn any job, and then the abilities, you can re-equip them as you learn them. And terrific, great storyline following Bart's, or as it was mistranslated many years ago, Butts. And great cast of characters and absolutely terrific. Gilgamesh, oh, terrific. Love the story in that too. Again, this one, as for 4, the definitive way, again, the PSP. For 5, I guess the definitive way to play that is the Game Boy Advance. Then we got Final Fantasy VI, which again will go in A tier. I really like 6. However, there's other games that I feel are better than it. That's why it'll go in A. I guess we'll do this. It's probably better than 5 in my opinion. But again, I think it has the most variety of characters. So there's got to be like 20 different playable characters. And the cool thing about this game is any character can learn any magical ability. Of course, they all have their sub techniques. Like, for instance, you have Sabin, who has Blitz. Cyan has Bushido. You have Edgar, who has the tools. Shadow can throw. He throws the shurikens, the ninja. You have Terra and Celis, who essentially are your black mages, your Esper knights. Well, Celis is like the Esper knight, and Terra is actually half Esper. And great cast of characters. Really, most of them are terrific. I would rank the Figaro brothers. Edgar and Sabin are pretty high. Shadow I enjoy. Locke is a terrific character. Cyan, the tragedy of his life and how everyone in his kingdom passed away. Of course, one of the more iconic villains in Kefka with his evil laugh. Run, run, or you'll be well done. Gotta love Kefka. Another game that people have been clamoring for a remake. And the thing is, the definitive way to play this is either SNES with a good translation patch or the Game Boy Advance, because the Steam version is terrible. The art is absolutely terrible. The pixel art is garbage. But terrific game. all remakes aside. So next up we'll go with where is it? Final Fantasy VII. S tier. I've talked about it many times. It's one of my favorites. A lot of people's introduction into the series. Me, I played 6 first, but 7, I of course love 7. Great cast of characters, great storyline. Of course, many people remember the tragic death of a certain character midway through the game and broke a lot of people. And great cast of characters, of course, from Sid, the foul-mouthed former pilot, to our emo boy Cloud, to Barrett, Red 13, our favorite girl Tifa, great villain in Sephiroth, Genova. Great game, great music. All these games, terrific soundtrack with Nobuo Uematsu, and absolutely terrific. Then as for 8, a very controversial pick that many would seem, but it is getting S tier for me. Absolutely. I recently replayed it last summer, and the game gets shit on by a lot of people. The story is fantastic. The music is terrific. People get filtered by the junction system, which is a little strange because they don't quite explain it properly in the game. But if you were to go, like, when Quistis gives you the tutorial, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. However, if you go into the in-game menu, the help area helps you out quite a bit and explains it thoroughly. And Laguna is the best. He is absolute Chad in this game. I love Laguna. I think he's probably the best character. The whole flashbacks there, the tragedy of his love life and his wife Rain, and of course Alone. or Eleni, however you would pronounce her. I like Squall. A lot of people don't like him for being emo, whatever. But I do like Squall. Most of the cast is good. I really don't care for Selphie, to be honest with you. But I like Irvine, Zell, Quistis, of course, Renoa, Cypher. Terrific. And then you have the whole Ultimisia theory. But yeah, I do like 8. That could be a controversial opinion for some. Then we have 9, which will get A tier. A lot of people really like 9. I like 9 myself. But just with the games that I've listed above, 9 is going to go an A tier for me. Of course, great cast of characters. All these games really do have great cast of characters. The only one who I maybe wouldn't like so much is Amaranth, who is just kind of there at the end. But I do like Zidane, and it definitely callbacks to all the other previous games and references. Great music, great gameplay. Once again, brought us back to 4 party members for a while. So in the beginning, there's 4 party members, and then in 4 had 5 party members actually, and then 5 and 6 had 4 again, and then 7 and 8 had 3 party members, and then 9 went back to 4 party members. So that's cool. Then we have 10, which I'm currently playing through right now. 10 is going to be S tier. I love 10. The gameplay, again, all the characters. Oron, he's awesome. I love, too, how they make Oron appear to be like this old man, when if you look in his bio, he's 35 years old. And of course, the kids all over again, like they're all in their 20s, and then you have Oron, who's like 35, and they're like, oh, man. And again, the storyline's terrific. The music is terrific. I love it. A lot of people get all mad about the story, like the storyline is cool, and then they go to space and whatever. But it's like, come on, it's awesome. You gotta love it. Now, Final Fantasy X, too, believe it or not, never played, so I can't really give an opinion. I was sort of filtered by the fact that in the trailer they're like singing pop songs. Like Yuna's a musician now. It's kind of weird, but maybe I'll give it a try because people have praised. They bring back the job system in that, so people say that's good. But I was sort of filtered by the 3 women group that they have going on. So if someone's played it and it's actually pretty good, let me know and I'll give it a shot. Then 11 also didn't play. It's an MMO, so I've never actually played it. Can't really give you too many thoughts on that. 12 also didn't play. I actually bought it a while back for $10 on sale, but still have never played it. Eventually I'll get to it. Same thing for the sequel, 12 Revenant Rings. Never played. Sorry. Then as for a game I actually have played, 13 is going to go in C tier. Absolutely terrible. It was really just a showcase for the PS3's graphics. And I like the designs of the characters. Like Lightning is essentially female Cloud. You have Saz, who looks like a badass. I mean, he's got the 2 dual-wielding guns. He's got a chocobo in his hair. He's pretty badass. You have Snow, who... he's another one. He's got the bandana on. He's like, yeah, I'll just punch things. Like, everyone's got weapons. It's sort of like Tifa, how... her weapon is punching, and where everyone's using, and Zell too, he punches, and everyone else has like guns or swords. So the characters are cool, the music's great, but as for the gameplay, they tried to make it all cinematic, and I feel like it failed. And then the sequels, I didn't like the first one, so naturally never played the sequels. I also never played 14, another MMO, and then last night 15. Which we'll put in B tier, because I also recently played it for the first time this past summer, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I played the Royal Edition with all the DLC included, and the DLC definitely makes the game a lot better. However, the combat is very strange for Final Fantasy. Definitely lost its way with turn-based combat, which essentially stopped after 10. But I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the music, and I enjoyed the characters too. The nice bromance, and then, of course, Aranea, and Cindy, and Arden, great villain. Terrific. So this is my tier list for all the Final Fantasy games. Let me know your thought in the comments down below. What's your favorite Final Fantasy game? Do you disagree with any of the games on the list here? And can you sell me on any of the games that I haven't played? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.